The 1970s were filled with soft rock songs that once dominated the radio, yet many of them have faded into the background of time. These tracks captured the mood of an entire generation, but today they're rarely played, overlooked by mainstream playlists and forgotten by the industry. Here are 10 soft rock classics from the 70s you don't hear anymore. Diamond Girl by Seals and Crofts, 1973. Seals and Crofts were giants of soft rock in the early 70s, known for smooth harmonies and melodies that blended folk with pop. Diamond Girl became one of their defining songs, reaching high on the charts and earning constant airplay throughout the decade. Its gentle delivery and polished sound made it a radio favorite. Despite its early success, the track slowly disappeared from mainstream playlists. Unlike Summer Breeze, which managed to remain in the public memory, Diamond Girl slipped into obscurity. Even though it represented the duo's peak moment, younger audiences rarely rediscover it. For fans who lived through the 1970s, the song still brings back the era of AM radio, long car rides, and soft harmonies filling the airwaves. But today, unless you dig into vinyl collections, it's unlikely you'll come across this forgotten gem. Sentimental Lady by Bob Welch, 1977. Bob Welch, a former member of Fleetwood Mac before their massive late 70s success, released Sentimental Lady as a solo hit. The song was tender, melodic, and perfectly crafted for soft rock radio, giving Welch one of his most memorable singles. However, Welch's career was quickly overshadowed by Fleetwood Mac's rise after his departure. Songs like Dreams and Go Your Own Way dominated the airwaves, leaving his solo work in the shadows. Over time, Sentimental Lady became a footnote in the larger story of Fleetwood Mac. While critics praised its warmth and Welch's vocal delivery, the song now feels like a hidden treasure. It reflects the softer, more reflective side of 1970s rock that was quickly swallowed by bigger, louder trends. Love Takes Time by Orleans, 1979. Orleans are mostly remembered for Still the One and Dance With Me, but Love Takes Time was another strong soft rock entry that hit the charts in 1979. It carried the same polished harmonies and radio-friendly production the band was known for. The track came at a moment when disco and harder-edged rock were beginning to dominate, leaving little room for soft rock ballads. Despite reaching commercial success, it didn't have the staying power of Orleans' earlier hits. Today, Love Takes Time rarely makes it onto playlists or retrospectives. It's an example of how even a successful band can have songs that fade almost entirely from cultural memory. We Just Disagree by Dave Mason, 1977. Dave Mason, once a member of Traffic, found solo success with We Just Disagree, a heartfelt ballad that resonated with audiences in the late 70s. Its acoustic arrangement and straightforward message made it stand out during its release. The song was one of Mason's few big solo hits, giving him recognition beyond his work with Traffic. For a time, it was a staple on FM radio and easy listening stations. But as the years passed, We Just Disagree became overshadowed by more enduring soft rock hits. Its simplicity, once its strength, may have contributed to why it faded from collective memory. How Much I Feel, Ambrosia, 1978. Ambrosia straddled the line between progressive rock and soft rock, but How Much I Feel firmly placed them in the latter category. The track climbed the charts and became their most recognizable hit of the decade. Emotional delivery and polished production reflected the late 70s sound perfectly. However, Ambrosia never fully capitalized on this moment, and their later releases didn't achieve the same impact. Today, the song is rarely mentioned outside of dedicated soft rock circles. For many, Ambrosia remains a band known by name more than by the music itself. Right Time of the Night, Jennifer Warnes, 1977. Jennifer Warnes had a long career with multiple highlights, but Right Time of the Night was her breakout soft rock moment. The song was a radio hit, showcasing her warm vocal tone and polished pop sensibilities. It fit seamlessly into the landscape of late 70s radio, sitting alongside the biggest ballads of the era. However, it didn't have the same staying power as her later duets, such as the massive Up Where We Belong. As a result, Right Time of the Night is rarely discussed today, even though it once marked her arrival as a force in soft rock. Strange Way, Firefall, 1978. Firefall were often compared to bands like the Eagles and Poco, with a knack for melodic soft rock. Strange Way was one of their most striking songs, blending harmonies with a more dramatic arrangement. At the time, it received considerable radio play and helped solidify Firefall's place in the soft rock scene. It showed the band could balance gentle ballads with a slightly edgier sound. Yet despite its quality, Strange Way has largely disappeared from rotation. Unlike the Eagles, Firefall's catalog has not been widely preserved in mainstream playlists, making this track a forgotten highlight. Fooled Around and Fell in Love by Elvin Bishop, 1975. This track was a surprise hit for guitarist Elvin Bishop, featuring lead vocals by Mickey Thomas, who would later join Jefferson Starship. The smooth, soulful delivery made it a standout in the mid-70s. The song climbed the charts and gave Bishop his biggest commercial success, but it didn't translate into a lasting career as a solo artist. For many, it was a one-hit moment that quickly faded. Though it sometimes resurfaces in movie soundtracks, it is not a consistent presence on classic rock or soft rock playlists, leaving it underappreciated compared to its initial impact. I Go Crazy, Paul Davis, 1977. Paul Davis scored big with I Go Crazy, a tender ballad that stayed on the charts for an impressive amount of time in the late 70s. Its emotional delivery connected with listeners and made Davis a household name briefly. Despite its long chart run, Davis never replicated the same level of success. The song's style, firmly rooted in 70s soft rock, became dated quickly as the 80s brought new production trends. Today, I Go Crazy is rarely remembered outside of deep dive playlists, even though it was once one of the most recognizable ballads of its time. Reminiscing, Little River Band, 1978. Reminiscing was one of Little River Band's defining songs, reaching international success and becoming a soft rock anthem of the late 70s. Its smooth production and reflective lyrics made it a perfect soundtrack for the era. The song earned praise and strong chart positions, cementing the band as a force in soft rock. Yet over the decades, even their most successful songs have become less visible in mainstream culture. While Reminiscing remains beloved among fans, it is rarely celebrated on the same level as other soft rock staples from the era. It's a reminder of how even big hits can slowly fade into nostalgia.